Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, a World Alternative Media here, and of course we're joined by author and economic analyst here at WAM, John Sneisen. And the worthless communist bootlicker Jeremy Corbyn has refused to condemn Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, a complete dictator, a socialist monster, because he, of course, endorsed Maduro during the election last time around, and he was asked, does he regret it? Well, you know what? I'm just going to let you watch the clip from the Telegraph. Check it out.
Do you condemn his actions?
Sorry?
Do you condemn President Maduro's actions?
What I condemn is the violence that's been done by any side, by all sides in this. Violence is not going to solve the issue. The issues of Venezuela are partly structural because not enough has been done to diversify the economy away from oil. That has to be a priority for the future. But we also have to recognize that there have been effective and serious attempts at reducing poverty in Venezuela, improving literacy and improving the lives of many of the poorest people.
Do you regret giving him your personal support when he came to power?
I gave the support of many people around the world for the principle of a government that was dedicated towards reducing inequality and improving the life chances of the poorest people.
So, apparently, well, never mind the massive revolution, anyone that opposes the government being locked up and in prison. Let's not look at the hyperinflation that's pushing everyone into breadlines and causing them to weigh money, so-called money. Let's not talk about the fact that they're out of toilet paper, that people are stuck in the country and can't get out because they won't print them passports because they don't have enough paper, apparently. Let's not talk about the fact that the Maduro government has asked for people that are his loyalists to purge opposition. Let's not talk about the fact that people that are opposing him, including the Attorney General, is being whisked away and fired. Let's not talk about any of the things that are really happening there. Let's just talk about how, well, he helped literacy. He helped people read better. Well, okay, that's the excuse of every socialist loyalist, is that, well, never mind all the horrible things it causes, never mind the Hegelian dialectic of problem, reaction, solution, repeat that it causes, never mind the fact that it's immoral, it's enforcement, coercion, the fact that collectives can destroy the individual because they think they know what's best for everyone, as long as people can read. This is insane, folks, and Corbyn is showing himself to be an absolute monster, just like Maduro, and he endorses the actions of someone who mimics in a lot of ways Che Guevara and Fidel Castro. So what do you think, John?
Well, how about the new constitution that they just put in that gave Maduro the dictatorial power? Oh, no, we don't mention that at all. You know, it's he's a good guy. As long as the government is trying to do something good, everything is fantastic. Talk about, you know, banning all the guns in Venezuela. Meanwhile, Venezuela is on top 25.
Yeah,
I believe there's like 13 cities in Venezuela.
Don't smoke publicly. Don't carry guns around. Don't swear or say anything offensive, because that's the biggest priority. Never mind the people that are sneaking into a zoo to kill the animals so that they have food to eat, and their family is dying of starvation, and they've lost an average of more than 20 pounds on average in the last year. I mean, this is insane.
Oh, well, and of course the new exchange, if you look at the black market, I look at the number now. When we looked at it last, it was 1,600. Well, now it's 13,512 currently, and it's going up almost daily now. It's just a complete collapse. I talked about this, of course, in my book, and of course you said, yeah, we need to wean them off of the oil, dependency that they have in Venezuela. Maybe we should just have they could just live on having a massive government and maybe exporting government around the world. That'd be a fantastic export product for Venezuela to, of course, come out with. And of course, we got to mention that now, they're a massive threat to the United States because there's so many banks that have borrowed Venezuela money.
Well, they were seen as a national security threat even under Obama several years ago.
We did the executive order. Yeah. We talked about that, right? And what's happening now is, of course, they are completely eviscerated. They're never going to be able to pay back any money So what's going to happen? Well, maybe we should invade. Well, they have oil, so they might be very high on the list to invade.
Well, over 100 protesters have been killed. That's just what they will actually admit to. I'm sure there's more, unfortunately. But the idea of invading Venezuela is not a good one. I think that individuals need to stand up for their own individual liberty and overthrow a government that is not only just persecuting them, but forcing them to drink out of gutters. It's horrible. And, you know, I still have a lot of socialists that will endorse the actions of Venezuela and say, well, no, it's all just the United States. The socialist regime is working just fine. It's just the United States because, of course, they don't want to be proven wrong on calling it a utopia a few years ago for socialism. But the fact is, yes, the United States has intervened to some extent, but only because why on earth would the United States take the hyperinflated bolivar for anything? Why would they trade for something that's so devalued?
Well, the thing is, they borrowed in US dollars.
Yeah.
So now they're in huge trouble because they only have bolivars to pay back the loans with. Well, their bolivars are completely worthless, so the U.S. is not going to be able to take that.
Yeah.
And they're not able to get any U.S. dollars because they're not doing any trade with other countries.
And there's massive amounts of debt, so why on earth would any other country, put their own economy on the line to absolute desecration in order to save another country who can't take care of themselves? And of course, this isn't down to the individuals living in Venezuela. It's not the Venezuelans' fault, not technically. I mean, there is a collective fault there for voting in constant dictators, Chavez and Maduro. But the fact is, it is mostly just, it's a government, the socialist utopia of, the leaders living in palaces while the individuals live in gutters. And it's horrible what's happening there.
Well, communism is an oligarchy. That's really what it is. It's just a couple of people at the top, really reaping the benefits and living like kings while everybody else, drinks from gutters.
Yeah, no free markets, no competition, no innovation, no proper employment, no good wages, mostly because that comes from the free market. That comes from actual competition and sound production and innovation. But instead, those are all off the table because the government's in charge and they know what's best for you and they will coerce you to the ground.
Well, the thing was, when Venezuela used their oil revenue to create this massive government apparatus that they did, and of course now that the oil revenues dropped 75%, they're in complete collapse and had to print massive amounts of currency, which ended them up in a hyperinflationary state. One investment idea, actually, Josh, that I want to talk about is I used to play World of Warcraft back in the day. I don't know if you ever have done that, but I'm thinking about trying to see if I can find my account back again and all the gold that you have, gold currency that you have in World of Warcraft, because currently actually the currency and the gold in World of Warcraft is more valuable than Venezuelan bolivars fuerte.
Well, I mean, this is... Look,
it's insane.
This should be a lesson to all the oil-dependent countries out there too, that print fiat currency out of thin air, like Canada. Canada is very oil-dependent. Zimbabwe was very oil-dependent.
Sudan is, of course, they're in a hyperinflation as well.
Yeah.
South Sudan. And then, of course, Norway, which, if you take away the oil revenue, Norway's government size is the biggest in the world, except for dictatorships. So they're at 71% as a part of a government, as a part of GDP. And that should scare the hell out of the Norwegians, because they're currently having a government, the Labour Party, which stupid Corbyn, I call that moronic statement, while people are dying down there. Saying that, oh yeah, it's so nice what they did with the government. No, what you gotta see is these guys, they just want more taxes to grow a massive government. These guys are borderline commies, if not commies. They don't want to say that, of course, in public, but that's their thought pattern. They want that big, massive government to have control over everything, because they believe that the government gives everybody power. Not you're not born as a free individual, because that government, as soon as you were born, they gave you your life. They impregnated your mom, basically.
Well, so, I just kind of think that Corbyn should maybe go and live for the rest of his life in one of those gulags he so reveres. I mean, these people are insane. It's horrible. He's just a horrible person, and he gets by under the guise of helping others. I'm so nice. I care about so many people, so I think everyone should be extorted and perpetuate the problem and create constant problem reaction solution, repeat over and over and over again, so I can keep coming in and saying I'm being the nice guy by creating the problem but bringing forward a solution, which creates another problem. Corbyn is a moron. He's an absolute moron. He's a communist sympathizing piece of trash.
Well, we need to, take care of our wonderful world by dragging everybody down into the gutter with ourselves, because we are not willing to do anything with our lives. So everybody else should just be as us, because I hate people, that are wanting to do something with their life and want to create a better society for people. They're morons.
Absolutely. And I just think as we close this off, there's been so many things going on in Venezuela, it's impossible to keep up with all of it. Of course, people are forced to eat their pets and everything.
Hey, how about firebombing sugar trucks to, survive?
So you have calories. Yeah, exactly. This is the inevitable fate of truly socialist societies. Yes, you can manipulate it and keep it floating for a bit longer. Venezuela was really extreme, but it's still the inevitable fate of countries that go into complete collectivist coercion and control.
That's why Norway say we need more taxes again, right? Like, we're at 60 to almost 80%, I would say, in taxation and fees and everything off your paycheck that you actually got. And they want more taxes, because the government is growing constantly and it's getting bigger and bigger. And it's just been a slow thing in Norway, and Denmark and Sweden. But they're coming to a collapsing state now because they've grown so big that they've become completely unsustainable.
Well, I mean, these people are either delusional or evil, I find, people like Corbyn, because he was even saying in that video, as you heard, that they haven't put enough into diversification of the economy. The diversification. Okay, he's talking about more
government. He's talking about the government diversifying. He's so insane. And sucking out resources.
He's so insane. He sees what's happening in Venezuela, and one of his solutions is, well, maybe they need more government.
No, actually the government shouldn't diversify, as that moron was stating. The private sector should diversify. I totally agree with him, but he has the belief that the government needs to diversify.
Yeah.
While we are saying the free market should go in and diversify the economy, make it better for people there. Because if you're dependent on that one resource, if there's a lack of demand on it, you're gonna get really hurt.
So keep your ears and eyes open, folks, people in Canada, the United States, elsewhere in the world where we see so much oil dependency. Obviously, the United States is not completely entirely invested just in oil. There's obviously a more fluctuating economy, but markets, but all the same, there's still a lot of dependence on oil. As we see the 6% drop in gasoline demand, we see this Carmageddon happening. There's a huge problem that's on the near horizon that we have to keep our eye on.
And there is, of course, places in the U.S. and in Canada that are completely dependent on oil, right?
So absolutely,
never be dependent. It's always good to diversify your economy, but it's not the government's job to do that.
Absolutely, it comes down to the individual voluntary interactions between free individuals and the competition of you, the individual, with your dollar, competing on the market for what's best and voting for what's best, and the best thing prevailing at the cheapest price at the highest quality, not the government deciding what's best for you, because collectivism may be said as the greater good of the greater number, but in the end it's a greater good of the leaders and the destruction, debt, and poverty of the individual. So thanks for going into this with us, John, and we'll be back with you with much more. Check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored by YouTube. I wonder why. Also, check our Bitcoin address in the description and the comments, as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And also check me out at Josh Sigurdson, and check John out at The Economic Truth at steemit.com. That's steemit.com, the future of social media, where you get paid in cryptocurrency via your blog post, via the upvote and the demand of your post. And I really think this is the future of social media. As a dinosaur, social media censors people and drives people away. And also, don't forget to check out Canada, the greatest economy in the world, ? At Amazon.com. We'll leave a link below. This is John's new book, and we hope you check it out. But until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson and John Sneisen signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth,
Be the change.